Welcome to the Hanna Show, where business, as usual, gets a swift kick in the ass. If you're tired of the same old advice and ready to disrupt the status quo, you're in the right place. I'm cutting through the noise with bold strategies, unfiltered truths, and a no-nonsense approach to entrepreneurship, video marketing, and content creation. Buckle up, because it's time to level up, stand out, and dominate your market. This isn't just another podcast, it's a wake-up call for entrepreneurs and would-be aspiring solopreneurs who are all in. Let's get started. All right, so back in the summer of 2025, I decided I was going to pull the trigger and I was going to build out a studio my way. I was going to do it solo on my own. I looked around for many, many months. I was constantly trying to figure out the right space. I wanted something that was going to work well for me, well for our clients, that gave me flexibility, multiple sets, multiple rooms, so I could have, honestly, a better experience. I thought a studio offered control, and it offered a leveling up that I don't think really existed at the time in our region. Not a lot of people, though, to this day, understand what I've built until they see it. And so, obviously, we're here recording here on an audio-only episode version of the Hanna Show, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what a content studio is and why more businesses either are using one or need to use one. Because I think there's a lot of misinformation or lack of clarity for some people. So first off, I want to start with this. A stat that I don't think most business owners have heard, what they probably feel. Businesses that create content in controlled, distraction-free environments produce up to 4 times more usable content per session than those who record on location or when they have time. That's from HubSpot. Now, here's the thing. That's not because fancy studios exist, right? It's because studios remove the biggest enemy of content creation. That's everything else. See, if you're a business owner in Windsor, Essex, content usually doesn't fail because you don't believe in it. Of course you believe in it. Everyone knows that content, and video content in particular, is important. It fails because it's competing, right? Content creation competes with client work, trying to fulfill a business. Staff questions, phones buzzing, emails piling up, real fires that actually matter. So content then becomes reactive. You record when you can. You post when you remember. You stop when things get busy. It's not a content problem, it's an environment problem. Content studio isn't a place where you just come in and, create, though. It's not about the lights and cameras for the sake of it. A real content studio, when we've built it all in content, is a focused production environment designed to do one thing really well: to help business owners show up clearly, efficiently, and consistently. It exists to eliminate distractions, compress effort, keep momentum high, and turn one session into weeks or months of content. That's it. Everything else is a bonus. Early on, I found that recording casually worked, right? I could grab the phone, I could film content myself in between things that I was doing. Same thing exists for a lot of people today, right? You post when you can, but eventually that breaks down. And it's not because you stopped caring, because of course you care, because if you promote yourself and your business, there's benefits. But your business grows. More responsibility means, though, you have less tolerance for interruption. Less tolerance for interruption means that if anything's going to get pushed, it's going to be content. Studios exist because casual recording doesn't scale. I thought over time as well that there are hidden costs of recording on location for business owners. Like, recording on location wherever you are sounds convenient, right? But it actually means you've got setup time, you've got background noise, which is a major problem. You've got interruptions, which has been so infuriating over the years for me. There's limited takes, you only have so much time. And there's rushed delivery. So you spend more time managing the environment than delivering the message that you intended. And that friction I've seen show up on camera for some people, even if the footage looks fine. But operating in a studio can remove that friction. I also think that studios create clarity faster. Most business owners don't struggle because they don't know what to say. They struggle because they're distracted while trying to say it. When you step into our studio, the phone goes away or goes off, email stops, the outside noise disappears. Suddenly, thoughts organize themselves. The studio sessions are way more efficient. You actually leave studio sessions feeling like that was an easier recording process than ever before. So here's the thing, though, I've realized since launching the studio here in Windsor, Essex, studios matter way more than in big cities, too. See, big cities, they can get away with noise. Local markets can't. In Windsor, Essex, people notice consistency. They notice confidence. They notice when businesses feel established. Studio recorded content doesn't have to look corporate. It's got to look intentional. And intentional content builds trust faster than raw, inconsistent posting ever will. Now, here's where people are, again, often confused about what we offer in the studio. There's a misconception that studio sessions are scripted. They're not. In fact, I don't have anybody that actually fully scripts anything. Most of the studio content that we do includes podcasts, short educational videos, explanation of services, answers to common questions, myth-busting content, positioning, messaging. It's more like a guided conversation than it is a performance. It's certainly not scripted. The studio doesn't change who you are. It just removes everything that gets in the way of saying what you already know. I've also found, I was recording actually earlier today with somebody who said they feel calmer recording in the studio than when we used to do it in their office. And sometimes people are surprised when they actually leave because of that. Most business owners feel less pressure in the studio than recording at home or in the business. And why? Well, because there's a clear start and end. The goal is defined, and someone else, us in this case, we're managing the process. You know, you're not multitasking, you're not guessing, you're not stopping every time something feels imperfect. The structure that we've created in the studio lowers their anxiety and improves delivery, even though there's 3, 4, up to 6 cameras that could be on them. I found that creating the studio has helped turn content creation for videos in Windsor, Essex into a system. The casual recording can be done in fragments, but studio sessions, again, are that system. Instead of random videos scattered across weeks, what I've been able to do with businesses now is get them planned topics, focused recordings, predictable output. And that predictability is what allows content to run in the background instead of just living in your head, because people got lots of ideas. They just need to find time to record them. But there's a difference between recording and producing content. Recording is just capturing footage. Producing means thinking about how it'll be used, structuring it for consistency, and creating maybe multiple assets from one effort. Studios are built for production, not just recording. So I don't call us a place where you just come record videos. I call it a video production studio. This is why studio content actually does get used a lot more instead of just sitting on a hard drive. I also think that the studio model supports batching way better than any other setup that I've done. Now, I still batch record with people in person, on location, at their business. I'd love to move everybody to the studio, but the reality is it does not work for all businesses. But when you're batch creating content in a studio, I find energy stays more consistent, the setup stays constant, decisions are minimized, and that's what the studio is designed for. People don't have to rest between clips. You don't got to change environments. You don't break momentum. That one session literally turns into months of content without you feeling exhausted. But studios are not a magic fix for unclear messaging, a replacement for having a strategy, a place just to wing it with no plan. They work best when paired with direction, prompts, and someone guiding the session, and that's what we do. Studios pair naturally with what we call done-for-you content, right? We can handle all the creation of the production efficiently, but the done-for-you systems afterwards handle everything else, right? We can make sure that we can record and edit and caption and thumbnail and schedule that content for you so you don't have to worry about it. You just got to show up with minimal effort, really, on your part to talk about what you know. So I think there's a couple reasons why businesses should or are adopting Studio as a way to create content. It's not all about production value, even though there is higher production value there. It's more about relief. It's relief from the constant stress, the constant decision-making, the constant feeling behind. Because content handled in focused studio sessions, it stops it from bleeding into other parts of your work week. That alone, I think, changes how business owners experience marketing. Content studios, such as what we offer with All In Content, don't exist because businesses just want to look better, even though it does help them do that. They exist because businesses want content to finally feel manageable. Because when you remove the distractions, you compress effort, and you create in focused bursts, content stops being something that you fight with every time you do it. It becomes something you control. And once that happens, staying visible stops feeling hard. It starts feeling normal. If you felt like this is kind of speaking to you, if this is something that you would love to experience and try, connect with us. Visit our website, studio.allincontent.ca. You can schedule a 90-minute session, and you can come in and record raw content to see what it's like. And what you'll be able to do with that raw content is to turn that into months of consistent content. 90 days of content can happen within 90 minutes. You just gotta go all in with us. All right, that's a wrap for today's dose of reality on the Chris Hanna Show. If you're fired up and ready to kick some serious ass, then I've done my job. But remember, knowledge without action is just wasted breath. So what are you going to do? Sit around and let opportunities pass you by? Or are you going to step up and take what's yours? The choice is yours, but don't expect sympathy if you choose the easy road. If you've got value from today's episode, smash that subscribe button, leave a review, or share it with somebody who needs a wake-up call. Don't keep this gold to yourself unless you're afraid of a little competition. Stay bold, stay hungry, and remember, always go all in. Until next time, this is Chris Hanna signing off. Now go out there and take what's yours.